And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider, Sports Talk 1050, WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Sam Webb, Mr. Ira Weintraub on the other side. And you know how we do Tuesdays. We start to talk about the game within the game. And this is one of those games, of course, where you really want to get deep, dig deeper, find out what happened in the trenches. No better guy to talk to about that than a gentleman who wore the uniform, can articulate, can talk the game of football as well, has played in this series in the Michigan State rivalry. And so with that, we bring in our trench expert, former Michigan center, and our guy, Jack Miller. Jack, how you doing this morning?
I'm good, Sam. I'm good. I was hoping I'd be a little bit better when we spoke this Tuesday morning, but that's the way things go in this game sometime. I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's there's so much that we could touch on in this game, and I find myself feeling like heading into this that I need to pick something to focus on. And what I chose to focus on with you mostly is red zone. I mean, there are some other plays to grab, of course, talking about the protection on the day mainly, and between the 20, some of the other things that happened. But the red zone was such a big deal, Jack, because of all the times that they settled for field goals, right? And so why was that the case? Was it a matter of Michigan State having their number? Was it play calling? Was it MAs? What was it? Or was it a combination of things? And I think going back over it sort of gives us a clearer picture of what happened to Michigan in the red zone. So definitely want to talk about that. And then, of course, defensively, Kenneth Walker, fourth quarter was a different game, Jack. And I guess let's start off with your broad brush of the game. Let's just start there. Give me your broad brush of the game overall, and then, of course, the trench play on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think anytime you let a team like Michigan State hang around in a game like that, you're playing with fire. They're tough. They're really, really tough. What Mel Tucker has done there is nothing short of really impressive. And that's obviously a hostile place to play, a rivalry game with all sorts of implications. You let a team hang around like that, I think Michigan State always feels against Michigan like there's nothing to lose, right? And so you're always going to get their best, and they're always going to keep swinging. And you let them hang around for long enough, and sometimes the momentum can flip, and all of a sudden, you're scratching your head saying, "What happened?" I think a couple things. Michigan State played a great game, particularly late in the game. I don't think we played very physical up front on either side of the line of scrimmage. You talk about the red zone problems. We can get to that in a little bit, but it's disappointing to see how that game ended. I think Michigan had so many chances, and you can blame a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of things to talk about, like you mentioned, but so many chances to take that game over and really blow the doors open on it and not give Michigan State that sliver of hope that they had, that they just kept capitalizing on, and we couldn't stop the bleeding for a while. And then before you know it, you're down. And so, from a broad perspective, I think, there's obviously some really good things that Michigan did, right? There's some silver linings in this game that you can take away, right? But at the end of the day, when you don't get a win like that, it stings, it hurts. That's a tough loss. That's a tough one to swallow. And, it'll be interesting to see how they respond. And it's coach talk and everyone's saying it. And, what are you going to do next? But that's the truth, right? They go out and win the next few games and go into Ohio State with only one loss. Who knows what can happen, right? So, it's a tough one early in this week to get over and to move on with. But you have to, and you got to put it behind you, learn the lessons that you can, and keep trying to get better.
Jack, one of the things that, and Jim talked about it yesterday, you noticed it during the game, and even the commentators called it out, as much as you talk about the physicality defensively in the running game really wearing on Michigan, because fourth quarter was a different game. That's when running game for Michigan State really, really, really took hold. I think a lot of folks were surprised that Michigan had a slight edge rushing heading into the fourth quarter. But man, it was by that time, all the body blows, to steal the analogy that they kept talking about incessantly during the game, that started to take hold. But the substitutions, man, I mean, Michigan State had a really good strategy where, especially they get a first down and they go quick. And they kept catching Michigan out of position on their substitutions.
Yeah, and that's it's something that I observed early in the season, and I think it's part of what has made Michigan's defense so effective this year is that they're schemed up really well the majority of the time that they're out there. They're not out leveraged. They seem to have the right personnel groups in every time, and they're able to capitalize on that. Plus, they got some depth, like we've talked about, right? So they want to rotate different guys in there and make sure everyone's fresh. The problem is, it didn't take until this game to figure out that they were late getting lined up a lot of times. And this defense, for whatever reason this season, has played where really, really good, or they get on their heels and they look all out of sorts for a drive or two. And Michigan State was able to obviously study us enough and figure out, hey, if we can get the ball moving downhill on these guys and get right back up to the line of scrimmage, they seem a little bit out of whack. And credit to Michigan State, right? I'm very impressed by what Mel Tucker's done there in 2 short years. The talent that he's got out there and the way that they're schemed up, coached, and playing together as a team is really impressive. And a big part of that is the coaching. And they found a hole, a glaring one for Michigan that they were able to take advantage of.
All right, so let's go ahead and start getting into some plays here. So red zone, as I said before, red zone was a thing. You settle for touchdown or settle for field goals on the road. You just feel like eventually it's going to come back to bite you, right? And that happened to Michigan in this contest. So let's start off first with, I believe this was their first red zone trip, and they run a counter play, Jack. And Michigan has been a good counter team all season, but this was one where, man, they were just really beat up front. And I want you to, as I share this screen, I want you to talk the people through this play. Again, Michigan's up 7-0. This is first quarter. They're looking to make them pay, to capitalize, to put them in a 2-touchdown hole here, Jack. And this one is looking pretty good off the snap. So 2nd and 9, take it away.
Yeah, they're going in from the 13, and it's just a counter over to the left side, the short side of the field there. It's actually pretty well blocked initially by the left side. They do a good job getting some movement on the defensive tackle there. Zinner pulls around with Schoonmaker. Everyone gets on their block. The problem is my man Vistardis at center gets blown up here, right? And a lot of times, look, I think this is the best defensive line, hands down, that we've seen all season. Boy, do they play physical and tough and sell out. And if you don't bring your A game every single play against a defense like this, you can get exposed. And unfortunately, it's what happens with the starters here. He gets tossed around. The D tackle comes down the line of scrimmage and makes a play. You saw this throughout the course of the day, right? It's actually pretty well blocked by everybody else. And you're playing 10-man football. Somebody misses a block, somebody gets blown up. And if everything else isn't an A+ block by everyone, it's okay, it's good enough, then one guy getting off the block, making a play, makes all the difference in the world, because it's all kind of muddy after that and everybody can find their way back to the ball. So just not a well-executed play up front by Vistardis. It's okay by everybody else. But I think this was the theme of the day, running the ball, right, is we weren't physical enough up front. We were catching defenders way too often instead of coming off the ball and moving guys, right? And when you play like that, eventually you'll pay the price.
Yeah, man. So your pulling H gets knocked off because Vistardis is knocked 3 yards in the backfield on this play by Jalen Hunt, Belleville kid. He takes this one Belleville kid that Mel Tucker didn't run off. He's probably happy about that, because that dude had a day. So that dude, he blew up that play solo, because if your H gets around, if he's able to stay on path, he goes around who would you say? It was Zinner pulling. He goes around Zinner and gets the block on the outside. This might be a touchdown, Jack. But
well, he gets there. He gets there eventually. But to your point, just that little bit of disruption there throws the whole thing off, right? Hassan can't follow the blocks the right way. Doesn't, he's got to cut in. The Shoemaker has to cut inside his Zinner here. It just gets muddy, right? And then when there's a pause, anytime a running back stops his feet in the backfield, that's a problem. And right there is just too much disruption. By that time, everyone rallies to the ball, and it's a TFL.
Yeah, so we'll get the very next play. So the very next play, Jalen Hunt, that same defensive tackle, but he makes the play on the other side this time, Jack. And it's like, oh, man, you wonder what happens in the red zone. And this was one where they weren't just flat beat, as opposed to, I wonder, was this one of the ones where maybe the crowd noise gets them on this particular play as I pick this up, because the right side of the offensive line, Jack, it just looks like they don't hear the snap.
Yeah, they just come off late. And number 8, what was his name? What'd you say, Jalen what?
Hunt, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how we didn't get that kid, because he's a stud. You follow the recruiting much more than I do, but it does. The whole right side of the offensive line here just comes off late. Zinner can't get to him in time, and Cade's lucky he doesn't get hurt there, right? I mean, he throws that ball away and gets smoked by him, but he comes off late. Now, certainly this is a play. It's 3rd and 8 in the red zone early in the game. It's loud, right? It's very, very loud down there. So that's part of it. The other thing that I wonder about, and I don't know this, but it crosses my mind, when you're playing 2 quarterbacks, cadences are different sometimes. Even when you're clapping, right, the rhythm of the way the guy wants to call out the cadence, clap, send guys in motions, it changes guy to guy. It does. You try to limit that as much as you can, but it does change. And so I wonder, I don't know if JJ had played in this point in the game. I'm not saying anything. I'm just, there could be some element of that where, because the left side comes off, they seem to hear it. It's just the right side doesn't for some reason. So you kind of scratch your head and wonder what happened. It's a busted play. And unfortunately, it's 3rd and 8 in the red zone. What could have been, again, right? We could go over 100 of these. What could have been, right? And this is a play where, if you just get off in time, maybe Cade finds a guy for a first down or gets in the end zone there, and you're up 14-0 instead of 10. I don't know.
Yeah, man. And so there were other instances. We'll get back to the red zone sequence, but I wanted to get an understanding from you, Jack, of there was a play where I wonder, was this just snapped too early? Because you can sort of, as you watch plays develop and you got a man coming in motion, he has to be at a certain point at the snap of the football in order for the play to go off right, in order for him to get to the block, in order for there not to be traffic in the backfield. And so I wondered on this play, if you can kind of I called it snap too early. I couldn't put a question mark in the title because I didn't know, but I wanted you to talk me through this, because it just felt like, that you had your motion guy, and your 8 run into each other on this play. And it just felt like, was it snapped too early on this play?
I think so. I think that's a good observation. All runs into the wide receiver trying to cross the formation. It slows him down, so he can't go kick out that right defensive end, who, again, if we're being honest here, that's just a tremendous play by that defensive end, right? The right tackle blocks down, and without hesitation, he's down there quick, getting under the block from all in the backfield. Again, who was slowed up by the motion that was coming a little too slow. Look, it's difficult. This is the kind of stuff they talk about all off-season coaches do, right? Mental toughness. And so you're in these workouts getting your behind kicked, right? And it's, can you stay locked in and pay attention to the details when you're stressed out, when there's chaos around you, right? And at this point in the game, 3-point game, it's loud, it's hostile there, the weather's not good. You're playing the best team that you've played all year. And as a quarterback, you get a million different things running through your head. You send a guy in motion, and you're probably just on to the next thing, which is, okay, I'm going to clap and I'm going to hand it off to this guy, instead of all the different steps that need to be taken of, okay, well, I got to wait a few seconds here to make sure that this line's upright. Now, that being said, this isn't blocked well up front. There's no movement. The offensive line here is catching the defensive line on both sides of the line of scrimmage. our guys seemed a little too content to me to just match up on guys, right? I mean, you could tell early, every game really prior to this, guys on both sides of the line of scrimmage coming off the ball, wreaking havoc on the opposing team, getting movement, getting off blocks defensively. On both sides, to me, it looked like we were just too content to just lock up and get, shoulder pad to shoulder pad with guys and stand there. So, yeah, all's a little late getting to that. The motion affects that. Defensive end makes a good play, and then there's nowhere else to go because there's not enough movement up front.
All right, so now let's get to a good one, a good red zone, right? So JJ's in the red zone, and this was, to me, as we watched him play in this game, and now since it's been confirmed that the fumble was not his fault. I said, as we talked about it yesterday, I said, let's assume for the sake of argument that it was his fault, because I couldn't tell for sure on that play. We aren't showing it here, but I couldn't tell for sure because it's like, man, it doesn't look like there's a read on this play. It looks like a counter. If there's a counter, it's just a straight handoff. It's not a mesh. It's a straight handoff. So, are we missing something? Is someone running the wrong play? Jim confirmed yesterday it was supposed to be a handoff. That one was not on JJ McCarthy. The usage of him in this game, Jack, I think this is ideal, especially in the red zone. And this was a play he made, and there was good protection. This is actually a play pass. When you look at it, this was some good protection, good pickup here by the O-line.
Yeah, it's a great job all around by everybody, including Josh Gass. I think it's a great call here. So it's just play action, right? Which, again, when you're running the ball effectively, works. Everybody bites on it. It looks like run the entire way there. And Andrel Anthony, talk about a silver lining in this game. My goodness, right? We're looking for a career out of that guy. But it's a good play. The linebackers bite up. The safety, there is one high safety there who gets caught in no man's land because of the play action, right? He can't do anything. Anthony puts an incredible move on the cornerback, who, again, gets caught looking in the backfield because, boy, if you think stopping the run wasn't an emphasis for Michigan State all week, right? That's all they were probably focused on. And here comes a young freshman who puts a move on this cornerback here who doesn't see it coming and then just goes and plays football, right? Big play, get up, get high, go snag that thing out of the air and come down with 6. It's a great play. It's a great throw from JJ as well. It just executed really well all around.
Right. So we see there, and I actually skipped one red zone series that I'll go back to. So the first red zone series, it looks like that counter could have been a touchdown, but you had the offensive line get blown up for different reasons on 2 different plays. You had your center get blown up on one play, and then the very next play you had your offensive line, the right side of your offensive line, just not get off on the snap, right? This time, this was great execution. Great pickup on the linebacker crashing in there. JJ makes a good throw. All right, so you see one execution poor. This execution was good. The series in between that, and we can watch these 2 plays. Michigan ran the same play back to back. This is maybe the one in the red zone series, Jack, to me, where you could talk about the play call. The rest of them you can't. Like, people keep getting on this theme, and we'll show it. The rest of them, plays were there to be made. This particular series, though, that I'm about to pull up now, they ran the same play back to back. Michigan State, you give them the nod for the call that they made. There was a blitz that they had, a wheel dog blitz that blows up the play. Michigan runs the same play from a different formation. Michigan State comes with the same blitz, and they picked it up. And they stopped the play again and stalled Michigan in the red zone. So we'll run these plays back to back, Jack.
I think this is the one earlier. It snapped too late.
This is okay. This is not the. All right, let me go ahead and bring this up. Yeah, you're right. Let me change this out and add that play.
But Sam, you talk about red zone and what makes it more difficult for offenses to, or at least ours right now, to go down and score in there. The playbook gets smaller when you get in the red zone, right? Because the field gets condensed. You can't take the top off of a defense. So safeties become a lot more dangerous because they don't have to worry about as much. And that goes for anyone in the secondary, including linebackers and cornerbacks. The threats become obviously that much less when the field shrinks like that. So you don't have the same ability to run play action all the time. You don't have the same ability to get routes or formations that jeopardize getting the top off of a defense. So a lot of times it gets skinny down. And that's why if you're not running the ball incredibly effectively, getting closer and closer to the red zone becomes more and more difficult if you have to rely on misdirection and you have to rely on confusing the defense because it becomes more simple for them. I don't think we ran the ball very well throughout the majority of the day. I think Hassan Haskins did. But I don't think we blocked incredibly well, and I don't think our other runners performed at a really high level. So when you get down there like that and you're playing a Michigan State team that historically is very aggressive, that plays very, very, I don't want to say wild because that's a bad implication, but loose, it makes it easier for them when you're one-dimensional and you're not able to just run the ball consistently because you can do that anywhere on the field.
All right, so I don't have that series available right this in a cut. I don't have that series available in a cut, so I don't want to be scrolling through video here. Just take my word for it. That I believe it was the second red zone or the third red zone. I'll pull it up in my notes here. Michigan ran, they ran, an insert on a couple of plays in a row. And let me go through my notes here right now, live on the air. So it was the second, it was near the red zone. They were right outside the red zone. And on 2nd and 6, they were at the 24-yard line. And Michigan ran a zone play right into a wheel dog blitz. And so then they come back, they run the same play again from a different formation. Michigan State comes with the same blitz. And they stop it. So that's one series that it was near the red zone. I think it was worthy of discussion. If you're going to talk about play calling, I think that's the series that you talk about it. So again, first red zone series, offensive line blown up 2 plays in a row. Second red zone, and it was just, not anything special by Michigan State. Second red zone series, you talk about Michigan running the same play back to back. Third red zone series, JJ touchdown pass. Fourth red zone series was one where, look, you have an opportunity here to maybe put some, to put some more, points on the board. You get some good protection, and it just, you don't get a good throw. You don't get a good throw on this play, and I'm about to share it with you here, Jack, on the screen. Offensive line did everything they were supposed to do, and it just was one of those deals where you need a good ball here as I share it on the screen. So it's a 3rd and 5, good pocket. Here you go, Jack.
Yeah, 3rd and 5. Yeah, talk about being an inch away from opening that up there. It's good protection, spread out, right? The defensive line wants to do twists up front. The offensive line does a good job holding it off, and it's just a bit overthrown for who is that? There 6. I'm trying to see.
Cornelius Johnson.
Yeah, Cornelius Johnson, right? And
you don't have. He chose to go there. People say, "Well, why are you going fade there?" If you don't, first of all, it's a good matchup. It is a good matchup, and the play before this, there was another fade, but you had Andrew Anthony running that fade. And it was one of those things where he doesn't run the fade as well, Jack. He runs it tight to the line of scrimmage. He doesn't give Cade a real good target to throw to. And Cade winds up throwing the ball out of bounds. So it's a bad ball to compound a bad route, right?
Yeah.
But here, Cornelius runs the fade great, gets open, and just doesn't get a good ball. Now, before you talk, well, why are you throwing the fade there? You only need 5 yards. He didn't have to throw the fade. He had right in the middle of the field. I'm going to show this again, and just watch on this play. Watch where who's around Blake Corum right here.
Nobody's
around Blake Corum right there.
Just the referee.
Just the referee. If he throws it to Blake Corum, it's a first down. It might be a touchdown, Jack. Might be a touchdown.
Kate, yeah, you know what? Look, you make a decision as a quarterback where you're going to go with the ball based on the defense a lot of times, right? And I guarantee if he had this back, he wishes he could check that ball down to Corum. However, he decides he wants.
you do have the clock to worry about because there's only 10 seconds
10
left
seconds
on the
left,
clock.
right?
But it's the first down.
Right, exactly. Spike it, right? That's tough. That's a tough call. You got a good matchup.
He could have
You
been
got a
given
good
an instruction
matchup.
to go end zone here.
He should have though. He should have gotten rid of this ball a bit sooner. If he's reading that safety, like I'm sure he is, because that's where he wants to go with the ball. If he gets rid of this a bit sooner and gives Cornelius Johnson, just throw it up, right, and let your guy try to go make a play, it might end up being a touchdown, right? He's just a bit late, and by that time he doesn't have enough air under the ball to put it in a spot where Johnson can really try to make a play on it. It's just got to be a perfect pass because he's a little late on the throw.
Right. And so again, it would have been a huge risk. He goes the right place with the football in the grand scheme of things. It would have been a risk because if Cade gets stopped or Blake gets stopped short of the end zone, you're going to the break. You don't even have a chance at a field goal. So
right.
He went the right place with the football. But well, why didn't he throw it to? He could have. It just would have been risky to go to Blake right there. So one of those deals, Jack, we'll get a few more in on the other side. I know we haven't even gotten to the defense yet, but there's just so much to get to with this red zone breakdown, man, that we're trying to dissect it all in a little period of time. Before we get to this break, though, tell the folks about the HYLANT Group.
Yeah, HYLANT Group, full service insurance brokerage all throughout the Midwest, representing property casualty insurance, employee benefits, personal lines. Anybody out there looking for insurance options, go visit HYLANT.com, HYLANT.com.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to a break. More Jack Miller on the other side here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, The Ticket. All right. I will get the next red zone series. And so the top thing here, as I detail the red zone, because I went through last night. This is one of the things that I worked on. So to go over it again here in the break. First red zone series was the one we talked about where the line 2nd and 9, counters blown up because Vastardis is knocked in the backfield. Third down, right side doesn't come off the line. The second near red zone series was the one that I wasn't able to get to here in the in the deal. That's the one where they run that zone into a wheel dog blitz. They try to go to the other side from a different formation. They run the same blitz and stop the play. Third red zone series was JJ touchdown pass. Fourth red zone series was the one, again, 10 seconds left. Well, first pass was second and 5 from the 17, 12 seconds, no timeouts. The bad fade route and the bad ball. 3rd and 5, good fade route from Cornelius Johnson, bad ball.
Right.
Fifth red zone series, and we'll show this in the break. And folks, we'll just direct folks to it when they go to watch the video. But the folks here with us on StreamYard can watch. So I'll share this right now. This was good protection. This was a really good ball from Cade McNamara. This was a touchdown pass from Cade McNamara. Red zone TD. Here you go, Jack. All right, so we're going to stick with this play as they look to the sideline. And then here you go.
Yeah, rain's falling at this point. Not an easy play to make at all, right? They bring a blitz. It's well picked up. And that's the difference, right? When you're playing it's man coverage. When you're playing man coverage like that against the blitz, if you can pick it up and you can just hang on a couple extra seconds, that just allows those crossing routes to develop. And a guy like Sandstrel, as fast as he is, he's going to find a way to get open here. You see, they turn the protection the right way. It's good, patient job. Left guard gets beat. You'd like to see him be a little more stout there, but it's enough time, and that's just that's a good play by Cade, right? What a ball game I think that he had. Throws a bullet right in stride over the middle, but it starts up front. You give him just enough time to get these wide receivers open. There's enough speed there, they will, and that time they do.
All right, so if we're keeping score, which we are on red zone, and we are talking about why things went a certain way. Again, go back. First red zone series, offensive line blown up. Second red zone series, you can blame the play call. Third red zone series, and second one was a near red zone, but I'm counting it as a red zone. Third red zone series is a touchdown pass by JJ. Fourth red zone series, bad fade balls. Good, in end of half, you got to go to the end zone. 2 bad fade balls in a row. One that had a bad route in there as well. Fifth red zone series, that was the touchdown that we just saw from Cade McNamara to Mike Sainristil. Now the sixth red zone series, and we will get into this. We can sort of start it now and continue the discussion as we come out of the break, because we're coming back now, as a matter of fact. So I'll go ahead and cue this up. All right. And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. I'm trying to speed through this red zone analysis so we can get to a little bit of defense while we have Jack. So we're coming up on the end of the red zone. We talked a little bit about it in the radio break. If you missed it, be sure to check it out on the YouTube page. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube page as well, as we get the video of the breakdowns as well. But I'm calling this the sixth red zone series. There was one in there that was near red zone, and I'm counting as a red zone. But this is 2nd and 11 from the 21-yard line. They lost a yard on first down. And Jack, you got to help me with this one, because this is good protection. This is good protection, and this might be a touchdown, people. This is an example of a miss. This is set up perfectly. All right, Jack, so talk to me about the protection on this play, man. This looks like a good pocket to me.
It is a good pocket. They show a bunch of it's a weird defense, right? They show guys coming to the line of scrimmage. You don't know where the blitz is coming from. Then they don't bring it, right? So the offensive line does a pretty good job here. That's a good pocket. You'd like it to be a little deeper maybe from Hayes at left tackle, but it's good enough for the time being, right? So Cade should profile up. Hopefully here,
but he scrambles on the play,
and then he scrambles on the play. I think that's probably one he wishes he had back. Panics a little bit. 2nd and 11. These are going to be deeper routes here. You want to take a little more time to develop them. Hayes is just a little shallow in his drop at left tackle, right? He just gives up the edge a little too soon. Same with the right tackle. I can't say who's in at this point. They're just you'd like to have that edge. Yeah, that's at about 10 yards. That's not bad, right? He just gets a little flustered. If you step up there and just trust that your tackles are going to stay with the blocks, nobody's getting off any of those blocks right there, right? Everyone's covered up. It's just a little shallow. And had he just profiled up and been comfortable enough to sit there a few more seconds, something might open up downfield.
Well, see, but here's the thing. So I believe, and I got to go back and check the tape. I think Michigan scored on this play early in the season. All right, so it doesn't even require a lot of time on this play, because they rail AJ Henning on this play. All right. So AJ Henning motions to the backfield, rails out. All right. So look out here. Once you get, just if you get rid of it right now, he is open in the flat, and CJ has just taken out the linebacker here. Right?
Yeah, and if you put a good ball on him and you hit him in stride, he can run with this thing. All's coming around from the tight end position. He's going to get up on the safety, and then you're just asking AJ Henning to beat a will linebacker one-on-one to the corner.
Right. And so he, at this point, so he can't even throw it down the field right now, Jack, because you already have CJ just made this block. He's supposed to hit the rail. So you got CJ taking out the linebacker here. You got basically Eric All is your convoy. He's your lead blocker. You throw it in the flat right now. I mean, this might be a touchdown. I don't know why he didn't throw this.
Yeah, it's a good point, Sam. I don't know what he was thinking there. If you play it one more time, all takes off and doesn't get on a guy, and so you wonder if he's looking for that down the field, trying to hit the home run instead of just taking what the defense gives you. I don't know. To your point, with with CJ there chopping at the linebacker, it's the ball's got to go there. That's
Right
where
now.
it's supposed to
throw it
go.
right now.
So right. So I don't know. I don't know where he was looking there. But you know,
That
ends up
was set up. That was set up perfectly, man. I mean, that was one where it's like it's a right now play. It's a right now play. And if he throws it right now, he's running with a blocker in front of him. That's one of those red zone misses that it's like, man, like you said, he probably wishes he had that one back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Probably wishes he had that one back. And then you wind up with another play there in the red zone. That one was a second down. And, you know, red zone, good throw. And then there was one more play that I wanted to get to. Was it this one? Or did we do the third? Yeah, we did this one already. No, this was the next play. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the next play. All right, Jack. So talk me through this one, because you got some good protection here again.
You got everything you want. It's good protection. 3rd and 8. They don't bring a blitz. It's picked up well.
It was interference, but man. Ooh. Yeah,
you know, you could argue that, right? Again, these, you know, both of those fade routes that we've looked at today. I know this isn't a fade; it's kind of a corner post here, but from the inside receiver. But both of them just a little late from Cade, right? If he gets that ball off just a bit sooner, he knows where he wants to go with this, right? That safety's in the middle of the field. He's going to the corner of the end zone. He puts it; it's just behind where the throw's got to be perfect, right? Because by that point, the receiver's so far into the end zone, there's not enough wiggle room, right? If he hits it now, throws it up there now for the folks who can see, then the wide receiver's got plenty of time to come under it. And then it's on him to go find the ball and make a play. Now, this is pass interference probably, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so he's running to the corner, but and there was an opening when he threw the football, but instead of throwing it to the corner, he goes out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
So it just, you know, one of those deals where the referee should have thrown the flag, but they would probably say, as bad as they would probably say, well, that just wasn't catchable. So they swallowed.
Uncatchable, right. Right. I mean, look, it's not a great throw. It's not a good ball by Cade. Everyone, you know, we can go down the line. A lot of times, you know, throughout this game when offenses are struggling, I mean, you can talk to Coach Borges about this. He talk about 10-man football, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody there is doing their job. Everybody's on the same page. It's well picked up front. They run a good route. It's just not a great ball from Cade, and that costs you. And then the next play, somebody misses a block. And then the next play, somebody drops a catch, right? I mean, it's 10-man football. And when things aren't clicking for you offensively, that's an easy rut to get into.
Yeah, man. And so we got to get a little defense in here real quick. As much as painful as it is, and you got to give Kenneth Walker credit. I felt like early in the game, Jack, he was making the plays. Like, he was making the run plays, right? Because Michigan was in the right places defensively. I thought in the fourth quarter, between the fatigue and the fact that they were catching Michigan out of position with substitutions, I felt like the convergence of those things really led to some success for Michigan State. But let's look at his first touchdown here really quickly. And this is an example of what I'm talking about, hey, man, this is just a dude that's pretty good making a damn play like Kenneth Walker did. So here we go, Jack. His cutback TD looks like it's bottled up.
Yeah, this is Kenneth Walker being really good. It's also a really well-designed play for Michigan State. It's nothing more. It's a weird, funky version of ISO. It's 12 personnel. You got one running back and two tight ends. They're both in the backfield. So that spreads the defense out. It keeps them flat, right? It doesn't allow them to stack up. And they have to honor the fact that two tight ends are on the edges of the offensive line. So what are they going to do, right? They could release in different routes. Look how flat that is, right? The only guy at the second level is Josh Ross, who gets eaten up here and gets stuck on a block and can't do anything. It's again, I talked about it earlier in the segment here. Guys, I think, were too content to just lock up on their guy and stay in their gap instead of go out and try to make a play here. And when Kenneth Walker doesn't get wrapped up and guys aren't flying around causing chaos, a guy that big and strong and fast and with that vision and quickness, I mean, he's the complete back. he's going to make you pay. Guys get out of place. There's bad angles from the safeties coming downhill. Aiden's trying to make a play and credit that tight end blocking him, just keeps washing him down. Walker reads it and bounces outside of him. But the right side of that line of scrimmage is all blocked up. You'll see here from the left guard on down, nobody really misses a block there. You'd like to see big number 96 find a way to get that ball. I mean, that's, again, this is just one play and there's about 5 what ifs right here, right? And I think that was kind of the theme for the day, pretty emblematic of this play. Boy, you're right there. There's 5 guys right there. All you need is one guy to figure it out, and just, doesn't go your way. They capitalize on it and make a good play.
Yeah, I'm showing another one. I didn't see this play, Jack, but this is more of the same. And this was another. I believe they caught him in a quick one, with a quick count here, and they get caught inside, and he's able to bounce it again.
Yeah, there's something to be said for this substitution thing. I mean, I remember in 2011, it was my first year, we played at Michigan State. It was a big game. We were undefeated. I don't know if they were at the time. And they picked up on the fact that when Dave Molk was playing center, he had a weird kind of twitch, basically, where he would move his head, and we never changed the tempo of snapping the ball from that. And they keyed in on that, and they knew, so they brought blitz the entire game and knew the minute he does that, go, right? That we didn't have another option, and we had never practiced basically a different cadence. They had us figured out on that. Give Michigan State credit. They had this thing figured out where, and you've seen that throughout the course of the season. This defense is either like playing lights out and downhill and aggressive, or they're way on their heels and they seem confused and they're waiting for calls. They don't get lined up in time. And again, give Michigan State credit. They exploited that. They figured out, let's just get back to the line of scrimmage. Don't let these guys substitute and go, and we'll take advantage of them. And they did. Yeah,
man, we could show more Kenneth Walker plays. Again, like I said, early in the game, it was he's making something when nothing is there. As we got deeper into watching this game unfold, that substitution thing was a real factor, because that was one where they went quick. And Michigan actually had some guys sort of in position. A little bit later, they were nowhere. I mean, he didn't even have to make a cut. He didn't even have to make a guy miss. He just
Well, and the body blow thing, it kind of sounds corny or whatever. It's true. It's true. When you're a physical front and you just keep wearing down a defense and you keep wearing them down, and the momentum starts to swing in your favor, and football is a game of momentum, right? That does make a difference. It is like taking body blows in a prize fight where you're gassed by the end of it. You're tired. Your demeanor's changed. And an offensive line and a running game can take advantage of that, particularly when you got Kenneth Walker in the backfield.
All right. So we got to close on this play. All right. Aiden Hutchinson and David Jabo, they were the bright spots on a tough day for the defense. I mean, those guys were tough to block. And Dave Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson double team on this play. Dave Ajabo gets a strip sack, and Aiden Hutchinson gets a touchdown, and the referees take it away. Jack Miller. I mean, I'll let you talk us through this play. You tell me what you see.
Yeah, well, I saw exactly what I think everybody saw, which is it's a tremendous play from Ajabo, gets a strip sack, and Aiden picks it up in the end zone for what should have been a touchdown. Now, I am still wired to be like a player or a coach and not want to make excuses and not, complain about refs. It's ridiculous that they overturned this call, right? I mean, he never got possession of that ball back to be declared down. I think anybody who knows football knows if the call on the field is a touchdown there, I don't know how you overturn this. But that being said, great play from Ajabo. He forces the ball out. Aiden jumps on it. Look, I got no problem saying this. We didn't get one call all day, right? I mean, it seems like they went out of their way to give Michigan State call after call. In a game like this, and I think Michigan State, true football fans or their, coaches would say the same thing. In a game like this, you never want to put it in the ref's hands, right? You never, on either side of it, even when you win and you're the benefactor like Michigan State was of some bizarre calls like this, nobody wants that. It's not good for the game when it's in the zebra's hands, right? Let the guys go play and figure it out. And when you take too much time and you're going to reverse calls and you're going to influence the outcome of a game, especially in college football, that is so emotionally charged and based off of just go out and play football, right? And this was one to me that's just glaring and obvious that it's BS is a bad call, and it cost Michigan. Now, it didn't cost us the game. There's other things, right?
Look, Jack, but they took points off the board.
Yeah.
There are a lot of calls that you're like, this had to go in this way, this had to go in that way. No, they took 4 points off the board. Michigan gets a field goal in this series. They took 4 points off the board.
No, and in fairness, though, from a ref's perspective, it shouldn't matter what the outcome of the play was. You should try to get the play call right. That being said, they didn't get it right. They got it wrong, and it was a dire, costly, wrong call for Michigan. Right? That's 4 points. That again, one of 25 things we could talk about where coulda, shoulda, woulda, and all of a sudden the course changes drastically for the outcome of this game just off of something that not even that's a big one there, but even some little things out there, right? Like we've gone over with some of these plays where all of a sudden you hit one of these and who knows what could happen. That's what makes it tough. A loss like that so tough is you're that close. And if one, chip falls a different way, all of a sudden, we're sitting here really happy this morning instead of grumpy and tired.
Yeah, Jack, we are out of time, man. Tell people, great job. Great job. You got to understand, Jack can play he can play on the fly because that's what he did this morning. My man, Jack Miller. Tell the folks about the HYLANT Group.
Yeah, HYLANT Group, full service insurance agency specializing in business insurance, employee benefits, personal insurance. Anybody out there looking for different options in a tough market like this in a hard economy, take a look. HYLANT.com, HYLANT.com.
My man, Jack Miller. Great job as always, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Sam. Go Blue.